Fandom Family Chats. I'm your host, Jeanette, and I'm here with Amanda.
Hello.
Eve.
Hi.
And Shelby.
Hi.
And we are going to be finishing up our Ginny and Georgia recap, talking about episodes 8, 9, and 10. So we're definitely not going to hit on everything that happens because it's way, way, way too much, but we're going to get the important stuff. So.
And a lot happened in those 3 episodes too.
Really, my notes, I was trying to take like concise notes, like not put everything, but I was like, God, these are still really long because there was just so much that was going on. But I don't know, the first thing I think we see like Cynthia's ad campaign, and they're watching it, and Georgia's upset because of the shot they took of her. She said it's a bad shot, and she's really annoyed by that. And then they're noticing, I guess, some of Paul's supporters are dropping off, and they're trying to figure out what to do about that. So, and that was, I think Georgia was ready to fight back, when they say, they were saying, like, quoting Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high. And she was like, no, when they go low, we go lower. Like, she was like ready to dig up some dirt on Cynthia.
It is the Georgia way.
Yeah. But they decided to keep it nice and clean.
Well, wasn't Cynthia's kind of I didn't watch it, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it kind of like a smear campaign in a way?
Oh, absolutely.
Wasn't it a little petty?
It was a smear campaign, but she was making it look like it wasn't a smear campaign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And it was heavily focused on Georgia and making her look pretty bad, so.
Well, Cynthia's the little boy that Austin stabbed mom, so.
Yeah, so I'm sure she doesn't love Georgia very much.
That's understandable.
Exactly. I don't know if I'd like the family of the kid that stabbed mine, but even if my kid deserved it.
Not how we solve problems, so.
Right. Not the right way. What about you, Amanda? What did you think of Cynthia's ad campaign? And how she was slandering Georgia.
In true Cynthia passion.
Yeah.
Fashion.
She's pretty passionate about it too.
Fashion.
I feel like passion worked. I mean, I didn't really notice anything.
I mean, to me, it wasn't that big of a surprise. We all knew she was going to go that way with it.
And then, so the next thing we see, it's not a real big, but it's Padma and Marcus breaking up, and Jenny and Max are watching and seeing that happen. I didn't really think, I never felt like they were like an official couple anyways. It was more just like,
I think it was always like a friends with benefits kind of thing, like
a physical thing.
Right. I'm kind of surprised actually that it took all the way till episode 8 for them to break up, and I'm using air quotes because they were never really together, but that seems like a long time to wait for them to call it quits.
Yeah. And of course we know it's now because he's in love with Jenny.
I don't really think there were. I think the breakup was more just for I don't know. I can't think of the word right now. That's what I've been trying to think of. Like they had to do it.
Like to define the relationship, basically.
Yeah, thank you. Like they just, I can't think of the exact words I wanted to use, but yeah, I feel like it just formality.
Yeah.
I feel like it was just a formality.
Yeah, I think so.
There's the word.
There you go. You got it. And then we move on to the essay contest.
Ugh.
Jenny's class.
With Hunter. That made me so mad.
So mad. And I don't know. That teacher, he's such a horrible person. It makes me really upset. But yeah.
But I know that, I'm sure there are teachers like that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I had different views growing up because I was raised with different views than I have now, but I think I had some teachers like that as well.
Yeah.
Not really realizing or knowing it at the moment, but I think they're all around, but I cannot stand that man.
Yeah. Well, part of me, and Eve, you're our teacher here in the group. So part of me I don't even want to say understand because I don't like him, understood the point of view of you didn't exactly do the assignment. You didn't exactly write an essay. But I feel like with something that powerful and that the way she delivered it, it was obviously something that, I mean, she was obviously she did the best. And I think in those circumstances, the rule, I don't know, I think it should have been bent and she should have been able to win.
Yeah, like I don't know if there were laid out rules for this is how, like this is what it was a poetry contest, right? Or an essay contest.
It was an essay contest. So
yeah,
I mean,
I don't know if there were like laid out rules like this is what needs to be included in your essay for it to be counted. So I don't know if there was nothing in there that said, oh, it has to be an essay, not like a poem or whatever. But I don't know. If it didn't say anything like you can't have a poem, then I don't see why Ginny couldn't have won, because that was a really good piece. I was like, wow, she nailed it. That's awesome. And then Hunter won.
Yeah.
Like stupid Hunter.
Stupid Hunter. We know how we feel about him on here. But
oh yeah, I don't know if it's just because I can't stand anything Hunter does because he's Hunter, or
that could be it.
If
That's
it
my
was
problem.
because I thought that her poem really was good. But maybe
now you just say the name Hunter and I'm like, ugh.
We apologize to anyone who has the name Hunter. We're sure you're wonderful.
I'm sorry.
Especially if you're listening to our podcast.
I have big feelings.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here he was like, I mean, and I understand he was proud of winning, and that's okay for him to be proud that he won, because I'm sure he did work hard on his as well. But he could have at least recognized the fact that she's not being treated nicely by that teacher. And that, I mean, to me, it's clear that the teacher is a little bit racist. I mean,
yeah, stand up for your girl a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have just been like, oh, well, that really sucks that you didn't win because your poem was really great. No, he just went into, well, it wasn't exactly an essay.
Exactly.
Like, no, that's not the right thing to say.
Right.
Learn how to boyfriend.
That's the problem. He does not know how to be a very good boyfriend at all.
No, he doesn't.
Hunter.
He knows how to tap dance though.
He does know how to tap dance and send goofy dog-faced Snapchats. So, there's that.
I would have broken up with this boy like a while ago.
I would have never went out with him. So there's that.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that dog-faced video, I would have been like, oh, well, we've had a nice run.
Yeah.
See ya.
We've had an interesting run, but we're done.
Right.
Interesting.
And then, so I guess talking about Zion in the slam poetry, we got to meet Zion for the first time, really, other than, I mean, we'd seen him in flashbacks, but we got to meet, adult Zion in this episode. What did y'all think of him?
I love that he came back because she spent like a few episodes already talking about how she missed him and she wanted him there.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to finally see, the version of Zion that Ginny appears to worship. So
I agree. I liked being able to see him. I didn't know. I guess like with shows like this, you don't know who to trust when somebody comes in new in the middle.
Rolling into town on a motorcycle.
Yeah. And like, I don't want to say new because we've seen younger Zion, but you don't know who he is nowadays.
Right.
That's been 16 years or 15 years, whatever, since that passed. So I don't know. I was weary about him, but
yeah,
he's all right.
Yeah, I like Zion.
He's a good dad.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I have my issues with how he leaves, which we'll talk about that, in like episode 10 or whatever, or whenever it is that he leaves. But I don't know. And I loved when they had Paul over for dinner. And I think they were, expecting it to be awful. And then Zion and Paul are like the best of friends. Like they loved each other.
Pretty sure when I first watched that scene, I was covering my eyes because I said, there is no other way that this can go except extremely awkward.
Yeah. And it was great. They all went and got in the blanket fort and had a good time.
And then George is just sitting there like, what is happening?
I love that.
Clearly, she has a type because they get along,
Very true.
So, but I did think it was like hearing Jenny talk about it and asking, like, when she's asking Georgia, like, can he just be my dad this time? Like, I felt really sad for her there. Because, you know,
yeah,
she needs her dad. And I really wish they would have stuck to those boundaries and just let him be her dad, you know?
Just her friend.
Mm-hmm.
Did we want to talk a little bit about when Zion met Marcus?
Yes. And I love how he knew right away the feelings. And here George is like, no, they're just friends, you know, like,
oh no, they're not.
It was just kind of interesting that Zion picked up on it right away. But, you know, then again, he hasn't really been deep into everything. He's kind of viewing all of this as an outsider.
Right.
So maybe from, you know, that outsider perspective, it's a little more obvious.
Yeah.
But still, like with Georgia, I was like, she's the kind of mother that knows everything.
Yeah.
So
I think sometimes. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's kind of interesting that she didn't, or I don't know if she realized it and just didn't want to accept it because her daughter's dating stupid Hunter.
But Hunter's the safe choice. I think that Georgia would rather Jenny be with Hunter than Marcus.
Or at least someone like Hunter who doesn't tap dance down the hallway and send weird Snapchat.
Well, and I think Georgia, because she just wants Jenny's life to be so different than hers, I think she wants, I mean, like you said, I mean, she obviously wants her to choose.
And she knows that she already knows that her daughter is so different from her. She's convinced. It's like, I would have gone for, you know, the Marcus type kid.
Right.
My daughter's going for the Hunter type kid because that's who she is.
Right. And I mean, and of course, we know, but I mean, from the outside perspective, you know, Marcus looks like a bad kid and a troublemaker. I mean, we know he's not that he's got a good heart and he's a good guy, but from a mom's perspective, I don't think you'd want him.
No, you're going to want her with Hunter. But no, I love that Zion could immediately catch that.
So something else we see in this episode is we get to see a flashback of Georgia, and it looks like she's actually married that guy Anthony that had given her the hotel room and stuff. And they talk about I guess went to jail for the underground gambling and had to marry him as a way to get Jenny back.
Yeah, because I think at the last second she said, well, I'm engaged. And then they said, oh, well, that changes things.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I hate it because I mean he's just manipulating her to get her to like be with him.
Oh yeah. I told you guys last episode, I did not like this guy. No.
Well, I don't know why it didn't hit me, but this last time I was watching, I guess I started thinking about, I mean, what is she? Because it looks like, I mean, Jenny's like 1 to 2 max. So she's like 17 probably.
Yeah.
This man is like, looks like he's in his 30s. Like,
yeah,
that's disgusting.
Very creepy.
Yeah. So, I mean, we know what happens to him. And I always feel like I make such excuses for Georgia. And at the same time, like, I mean,
we all do.
But,
she's kind of left without options a lot of times, you know? And
like I said last time, I just was hoping something really bad would happen to him.
And it does.
And it did.
And they never find his body. So, that's a mystery too. I want to know what happened with that. But
I wonder if we'll see any more of that.
I don't know. I think maybe since the PI finds out about it.
It looks like the PI is just getting started.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's true.
Out a lot. But yeah, I guess which at first I wasn't sure if but he did where for sure he actually died, right? Like, because we saw her starting to call the cops and then like she did, or call an ambulance, and then she didn't. And then they said they never heard from him again. But how in the world did she dispose of that body? Like,
because she was
she's little bitty.
Mary Georgia. She's a tiny little thing.
I wonder, like, did anyone, like, somebody had to help her, wouldn't you say?
She probably had people that she called to do it.
Yeah.
She would have had to have help because there's no way she could have gotten rid of that body all by herself.
But
she talked her way into it.
Yeah.
He wasn't a small guy.
No.
So.
But think about it this way, though. The way that Georgia is, like, she probably had people and she probably didn't even have to get her hands dirty. I mean,
yeah,
that's how stuff like that works. I mean, she probably did the deed, but then basically just made a call and she went to work the next day and the body was gone when she got back.
Yeah. I'm sure that the bikers had helped her, something to do with it.
Maybe somebody she met in jail, right? Did she go to jail for just a little bit? Well, they don't really say, I guess, if she actually did. We just know she lost Jenny for a period of time, so.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
I don't know. Hopefully we find out season 2.
Yeah, I want to know more about that, I think.
Definitely.
And then we've got Sophie and Max have sex, which they're cute. They're a cute couple. I mean, I like them. What do you all think?
I did like them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cute.
I think Sophie's too good for Max, but, you know.
I think Sophie made Max less annoying.
I would agree with that.
Yes, definitely. She did.
He matured her a little bit, so that was helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Abby's sad her dad moved out, calls everyone to the Blue Farm and tells them.
That was a fabulous scene. Is that the one where they were all slapping each other?
Mm. Yes. No, that's later.
Is that later? Okay.
I think that one's later.
Never mind. We'll get back to that.
No, I think it is the one where they're slapping each other.
Yeah, I think it is because she gathers them all and she's like, none of you had any idea what's going on. And then, I don't know, how did it start? Did like Abby slap Ginny?
So Abby is talking about, we tell them all how they're all bad friends and stuff. And Max, I think, somehow mentions that her and Sophie had sex. So then her and Abby somehow start arguing a little bit, and Abby slaps Max. And she like kind of jumps back, like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And then they all start like, what is it? I think Abby slaps herself. And then I think Jenny ends up slapping herself. I don't know. Anyways, they all end up slapping themselves, except for Nora, because they look at her and she's like, I'm not doing that. I don't know.
I'm not participating in that. And I would definitely would have been that friend. Like, yeah. I don't know what y'all are doing, but I'm not participating in whatever this is.
Yeah.
Not doing that. Not today. Sorry.
It was funny.
And then like Abby went to apologize to Jenny or something. And then she said, whoa, hold on a second. You guys had sex.
Yeah. It was a really cute scene because just the way they just like, I don't know, they kind of just let it all go. And it may have even been that I know like Nora's mom does that interview with Cynthia. And I think that pops up in the middle of that conversation. And they're all even like worried about like talking about how Georgia had a gun, which maybe it's because I'm in the South. I was like, would people really get upset about somebody having a gun? Because I'm like in the minority around here because I don't have a gun. Like that's not a thing like around here. Like at all.
I mean,
I don't know, because even like,
I mean, I think they would
Texas,
be upset.
You don't see it as much anymore.
Yeah. I think they'd be upset that she got a hold of it, but just the idea of like she has a gun in the house with children. Well, so does, I mean, at least around here, 95% of the population does. I mean, like,
yeah,
a lot of people have guns.
Yeah,
in their home, so that's not. I don't know if that's exactly newsworthy, except for the fact that Georgia is working on the campaign.
Yeah,
that, and obviously she didn't have it locked up.
That's probably a little bit more the issue, because I mean, even her being on the campaign, like, I mean, people are proud of our politicians around here when they do have. I mean, like. But like I said, I mean, being in Kentucky, that's a different than being in New England, I'm sure, as far as how everybody feels about gun laws, you know, but
yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's more the fact that it wasn't locked up. That's what I would assume.
Yeah. Which I think somebody makes a comment, is it Zion later that's like, we're not in the South anymore or something like that, you know, like just surprised at the fact that this is even a thing. But I liked how they like just moved right on past that. They didn't even like get upset at Nora or anything. They were just like, so you guys had sex, and just went right back to being friends. It was a cute scene, I think.
It was. It explained their friendship even a little bit more too.
Yeah.
If we didn't know all of it.
Yeah.
So Nora's mom does the interview with Cynthia and talks about the gun incident. We already talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then Paul is also upset about the gun.
Yeah.
That did bug me about him. I'm like, again, I understand that her not having it locked up, and that looks bad for you and your campaign, and I get that. But at the same time, like, he seemed like he was just mad at her over it. Like, you have a gun in the house with kids? Yeah, because I'm a single mother with kids. Of course I have
it seems irresponsible to not have especially what we know about her background. I mean, it seems irresponsible for her to not have one.
Maybe in her eyes, if you're actually logically thinking about it, that
right.
Georgia probably should not have a gun.
Right. Well,
because the probability of her actually using it is quite high.
From an outsider perspective, maybe she shouldn't have a gun, but that's probably her thinking. It's like, I have, all these people after me, gotta have a gun.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean,
I can't lock it up. I have to hide it under the floorboards in my closet where my 16-year-old daughter can find it.
I mean, even if you wanted to hide that, she could have got a small handgun case and put the gun in the case and stuck it under there.
But Jenny Jenny only found it because she was actually going through her mother's stuff. So that's the thing too. It's not like it was just like in the drawer next to her bed or somewhere like that. I mean, it was away. Like,
it's not like Ginny was digging through like the kitchen drawers trying to find a pen or something. It's like she was digging through her mother's stuff.
She was trying to find something like that.
Then we see that Georgia and Zion did not keep their promise. They end up having sex.
I know.
I knew it was going to happen because it's Georgia.
Yeah. Granted, he
it was inevitable.
That harder than she did, I think. If it was that big of an issue, he should have went and stayed at a hotel if y'all couldn't keep your hands off of each other.
Nah, deep down inside, they didn't want to keep their hands off of each other.
I know, but I hate it because I feel like they owed it to Jenny to not go there because she asked them not to,
She begged them not to.
I know.
Yep.
So that's pretty sad.
That was bad parenting right there by the both of them.
I know.
Marcus is sad, we see.
Oh,
I hate it when Marcus is sad.
He always looks sad, but then when he actually is sad, then he just looks even more depressing.
I know.
Like you just want to give him a hug and protect him from the world. Poor kid.
And I hate in that scene, Max, once again, super selfish. Like, she's not even going to say anything to him. It's Sophie that's like, talk to him. Like, obviously he's sad. And then when she finally does, like, here, she just assumes he's talking about Padma. And just like, I mean, she's not a very good sister. It makes me mad.
Max is not a very good person.
I know.
Friend, sister, daughter.
Oh my God.
He has a fun personality.
Mm-hmm. I love her personality,
but she's not the best person.
No.
And Marcus is such a good, he's a good brother. I think we talked about in the last podcast.
Yeah.
But he's a good brother, but she does not reciprocate at all.
Mm-mm. Not even a little bit. I mean, in that moment, he's obviously needing you. And you were just going to ignore him. Go ahead.
They're twins, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the twin tuition definitely doesn't hit with Max at all.
Well, not when you're as selfish and self-absorbed as her, I don't think. I mean, I don't think poor Max thinks about anyone but herself. I've got to quit watching this over and over again because every time I watch it, I like her less and less. She started out with my favorite, and then every time I watch it through, I get madder at her. I don't know.
Yeah, when we started the group, I was like, yeah, Max is my favorite, and then I rewatched, and I said, I don't love Max anymore. I still like her, but I don't love her anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think it's because she's fun. And so the first time you watch through, you're laughing at her and you're thinking oh, this is really cute and whatever. But then as you're diving in deeper, you're like, she's not that good of a person.
I kept getting madder and madder at Ginny. like, first of all, my first time watching it through, I was getting mad at her as the episodes went on, but then this time watching it, well, the second time watching it through, I was mad at her from the start because I knew like how she turned out, I think. And now watching it, I have no tolerance for her whatsoever. Like, she has an attitude, she has a mouth on her, like,
yeah.
I just want
she bugs me a lot too. I don't know. I think Max bugs me more because Ginny, I feel like, has more good moments mixed in with that, whereas like Max, if we're talking like a heartfelt, like you're a good person moment, I don't think there are any. I can't think of any.
Ginny's at least a good sister to Austin.
Yeah, I mean, she's good, and she's a good friend. Like, when, I mean, like, other than her keeping that for Max, I mean, I don't think she's done anything to be a bad friend throughout the whole series. She's just got a lot of teenage angst, and it's kind of bratty, which, you know, a lot of teenagers are. So I don't know, but she annoys me too. So then Marcus goes to Jenny's house, and he sees her trying to like self-harm. And the look on his face when he walks in and he's like, Jenny, what are you doing?
Oh,
I'm
so
like,
heartbreaking.
oh my God, I love you is what I wanted to scream. Like, I am obsessed with him. See, that's the more times I watch this, the more obsessed I get with Marcus, and the more I dislike Max.
I think Marcus is my favorite now.
I think so, me too. And Georgia. I love Georgia. I don't care. I'm going, she may be bad, but I love her.
No, Georgia and Marcus are my two favorites.
Yeah.
I didn't love Georgia the first time I watched, but then the second time I watched, I was like, yeah.
See?
She's awesome.
You just gotta, she makes bad choices, but her heart's always in the right place, I think.
So he sees Ginny self-harming. And then does he go right into the I love you, or was there a conversation in between that?
I think he I think he sort of like, I think she's like, what are you doing here? And that's when he comes to tell her, he's like, I think I love you. And she's awful to him.
And she just kind of laughs in his face, I think, too.
She says some really mean stuff to him. Like, I mean, she tells him that he's a joke, and that, I mean, like, what did she, I can't remember all the things she says, but I know I was just like, oh my God. Like,
it was like a string of like really just mean, hurtful things.
Mean.
Yeah.
And I know it was just because she was just embarrassed by what he saw, and, you know, she's just pushing him away because she's sad herself. But man, like, could you have toned it down just a little bit? Like, that was awful.
Stab him right in the heart.
Yeah. And his little face looks so freaking sad that I just want to cry.
His little floppy hair.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was about to say. I remember watching that scene, and I remember her. I don't remember exactly what she said, but I remember his face when she said it, and I felt so bad for him.
Yeah, and just from an outsider perspective, not being like one of the characters, I'm sitting there thinking, he's kind of shown you since episode 1 that he loves you. So this can't be a surprise, but I know that, you know, when you're in it, it's different. But
he was just embarrassed over the whole situation.
Yeah. Well, I know that's what I was looking for. I wrote down like a quote from her right before she does her self-harm. And I mean, I wrote it down because it's so sad. And this is the only reason, like, I don't get completely mad at her, because of just everything she's going through. But she says, when you don't have a voice, you have to scream somehow. And I'm just like, man.
Oh, ouch.
That's so powerful. I mean, that's sad that somebody feels that way, you know, that's the only way she feels like.
That's a powerful line right there.
Mm-hmm. And I think I think that line kind of puts in perspective a lot of the things that Ginny does. I mean, she's just broken. I mean, we've said Austin needs therapy. Ginny absolutely needs therapy too. These kids,
they need family therapy is what they need.
They all need therapy.
Definitely. Poor thing. I mean,
Zion can go too.
He could probably benefit from it, you know? I mean, like, he's obviously got a really unhealthy obsession with Georgia here that he can't let go of. So
yeah. I think everybody in that town might need therapy.
Yeah, right. Except for Joe. I think Joe is pretty, he's a pretty level-headed, good guy, right?
That we know of so far. We really don't know that much about Joe.
We really don't.
And Clint. I mean, Clint seems to have it together.
Yeah, I do like him. He's good. So then, of course, Marcus leaves and he gets in an accident, which, we don't find out much about the details until next episode.
I think I screamed, "What?"
I was so upset the first time.
I was too. I was like, oh, you better not have.
And I was ready to go to, I remember I was ready to go to bed after that episode. I was like, well, too bad. I'm watching the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't end it there. That's the only good thing about next Netflix shows.
Yeah. You don't have to
wait. Well, unless it's the end of a season. And then we got to wait a year.
Or more. Right.
That's the only bad thing about it.
Then the only other thing that happens in this episode is the PI looking through the pictures and notices the wolfsbane that Georgia has and realizes that that is what she has put in her ex-husband's drink to cause a heart attack. So I'm surprised she kept, I don't know, if I had used that plant to murder someone, I think I'm going to be done with that plant and move on to something else. So we would have just destroyed it then.
You would think so. You think she'd be smarter than that.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's not really true Georgia fashion.
Right? I wonder what maybe she kept it thinking in case she needed to, knock off somebody else, but I don't know.
I guess that's true, but yeah. If you thought you were going to be investigated.
Yeah.
Yeah, Georgia's the master of covering up her tracks. So the fact that she kept the wolfsbane, she even planted it outside the house, right?
Yeah. At the very least, when I found out that the will was being contested and all of that, I would have gotten rid of it then at least, just to make sure that it just seems crazy. But I guess we had to find out what she was doing somehow. So
she might have just been cocky and basically got messy.
Yeah. So episode 9. So that just picks up with Ginny trying to call Marcus, and of course he's not answering, or I guess she's trying to text him. I'm sorry, not call. And apologize because she probably feels like crap, after she's realized what all she said.
Well, she should.
I know. But so we find out he's okay. He's just got a really bad concussion. And we don't know where his phone is, so he hasn't been able to get any of her messages.
There's a good quote, I think, between Max and Marcus here. I think I've posted this before. Oh man, of course I lose it.
Is it a funny one?
You're both crying, but it is funny. She tells him to go. What's she tell him to go die in a ditch?
She tells him to fall. It's actually later when they find the phone, I guess, or after she finds out that he's slept with Ginny.
That's right.
Him to go fall in a ditch. He says, I already did.
I already did that.
Yeah.
That part makes me laugh every time.
It was funny.
It's a very brother-sister argument to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of really funny lines because I just realized I wrote one down from earlier that I didn't say, but this show has so many funny one-liners that I feel like sometimes you miss. The first time you watch it, and then when you watch it again, it's funny. This is way back. This is back in the episode we just discussed, but there's a scene, I guess, where Hunter and Ginny are being cute, or as we like to call it, cringy.
Cringy, you're cute.
Abby's she's trying to get attention from everybody, and they're just doing something, and she says, "Oh, Jesus, take me. I can't take it." And I wrote that down because I was like, this is how I feel every time I watch Ginny and Hunter together. She was just over it.
Oh yeah, because Abby's just sitting there, Max is, with Sophie, and Ginny's with Marcus, and Abby's like, "Huh, so Abby, what's going on?"
Right.
She's just sitting there to herself, I wonder where Nora is. Nope, she's disappeared. I'm like, she's just having this whole conversation all by herself.
Yeah.
Poor Abby, man.
Then I just thought that was funny. She was like, Jesus, I can't take it. So we also see our flashback this episode is when Georgia, I guess right after she murdered Anthony, she takes Ginny and they go back to Zion. And he's all mad at her at first because she had ran away. And which I'm like, really? I mean, like, I get you're upset because she took your kid, but
do you blame her?
Your parents were getting ready to take the child from her, of course, and you didn't support her, so she ran. I mean, like, I don't see any fault in what she did there.
I mean, legally, I see the fault.
I mean, I get, I mean, in a way.
Morally, no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe in a way, though, but I mean, here he was ready to sort of just hand Ginny over to his parents. So in my head, I would be thinking, I mean, obviously, he didn't really care that much anyway, so me and her are just going to go.
But there's a thing called grandparents' rights.
But how does that work? I don't think
that is if you can like deem the mother unfit.
Yeah,
you can deem the mother unfit. I think actually that's more about like if one of the parents dies. So I guess that wasn't really relevant.
No, there is grandparents' rights, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work though with, both parents being alive and well. Well, I mean, alive.
I know, well.
Not exactly well, for everybody, but I did like how when she came back and like he was mad at Georgia for like a minute, and then he was so hyper focused on being dad to Ginny, so he kind of just dumped all of those feelings about Georgia aside. He was just hyper focused on Ginny, which in some ways is the right way to do it.
Yeah.
The one thing that I like about Zion, and even kind of Georgia too, they have a shaky past and stuff, but they never talk bad about the other one to Ginny.
Mm-mm. No, I think I like that about them too, that they're supportive of each other.
And even in Georgia, even has nothing bad to say about Zion, even when Ginny isn't around. Like when she's talking to Ellen, she was talking about, Zion, Ginny's father, he's a good dad.
Yeah.
So even when Ginny isn't around, she still doesn't talk negative about him.
You can't choose your parents.
No.
I mean, and to me, if the parent that is not the best just keeps being themselves and doing what they're doing, then the child is going to figure that out on their own.
Yeah.
And that's going to be way better than a parent trying to just down the other parent all this time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I do respect Georgia in that sense a lot.
Yeah.
And, really not trying to get like a therapist or whatever, but like when I listened to this one song and it's about like these people getting a divorce and like basically talking bad about the other one, and like basically when you're talking bad about one parent to your kid, you're basically bashing half of that kid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That wording's kind of weird, but like the kid is half of you and half of the other person. So if you're bashing the other person, then you're bashing half of that kid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, then. Georgia and Paul make up.
Well, I know you and your Paul hatred. I loved how they made up, though. I don't know. Yay. But no, I like that he other than he got upset about the gun. Okay. That was because it was going to hurt his campaign. So, I get it. Otherwise, he accepts her for all of her crazy that he knows. But I really feel like he would be accepting of a lot of the crazy if she would be. Look at how cool he is about Zion being in town. He's just cool about it. I don't know. I like how he is with her.
And he even asked, when am I meeting him?
Mm-hmm. It was a fun way that he led into that.
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
You think she's his enemy? Or are you talking about Zion being his enemy?
Zion.
See, I don't know.
You
think Paul is sinister, and I do not.
I don't think he thought of it that way. I think it was just that, well, I'm part of your life, and he's going to be part of your life because of the kids. So I want
I
to
mean,
meet
he may have been sizing up the competition a little. I mean, I think that would be normal to do. But
I think
yeah,
Paul's
definitely
naive. I don't get how he trusts Georgia as much as he trusts her. But you guys also know how I feel about Georgia, so.
How you feel about Georgia? You don't like her?
Let's see. It's not that I don't like her. I think she's shady.
Well, she is shady.
She is shady.
We can all agree there.
I don't think that she can be trusted, and I think that there's more to her than what's being shown.
Yeah.
Oh God, what more could there possibly be?
I was gonna say there's a lot already out there.
A lot.
You'll never make me not love Georgia. So
Yeah, it would take something like, and it would take a long time. You couldn't just like say one thing about Georgia and I would not like her. It would have to be like a digression of her character.
I know I'm in the minority here.
Yeah, you'd have to do a lot to make me not like her because I love her.
I love Georgia.
But we also had Max telling Sophie that she loved her, which was like another cringy moment, the way that she did it, I think. Like,
hasn't it been like 3 days?
It's been not very long at all. And I know but I mean, I guess I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of a 16-year-old kid. She just had sex for the first time. She probably is or feels like she's in love with her. I mean,
oh, I'm sure. I remember those days. It's
hard to watch it as an adult because you're like, oh God, like just because you had sex with her doesn't mean you love her. You know, it's not the same thing. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to watch it. But so then Sophie definitely didn't say it back. I mean, you can tell
Max is very extra too.
Yeah, I don't know how anyone could be in a relationship with Max. I mean, like, she's a lot.
It's going to take a strong person.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is very, very extra. So then we move on to the PI having the body exhumed for.
Ooh, yeah.
That was Kenny, right? Having Kenny's body exhumed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's gone.
Dun dun dun.
Who did it?
Air. Who was surprised because I wasn't.
I wasn't.
I was.
I mean, I guess I was a little bit surprised the body was still on, but we knew something. Marty was taking care of something for Georgia. We just didn't fully know what. Now, where the body ends up, I was definitely surprised. And also, proud's not the right word, but I was definitely like, that's a very clever way of taking care of that, Georgia. I got it.
If I appreciated murder.
Yeah.
I know I don't know how to word that without sounding like a crazy person myself, but I mean, I was a little proud. Like, I don't know.
I'm there with you.
Where did it end up at?
It ended up in the fireworks. Like, she had the body, like, cremated, and it was part of the fireworks.
We at Fandom Family Chats do not approve of murder.
No, definitely not.
Only on TV shows.
I remember watching.
But hey, if you want to listen,
I remember watching that the first time. Oh my gosh. I remember watching that the first time, and I don't know what kind of music you guys listen to, but the song Goodbye Earl came to mind by the Dixie Chicks.
Oh yeah.
When that scene came on, I was like dying because I was like, goodbye, goodbye, Kenny. And then it's kind of ironic because that's Kenny's name too. Well, my boyfriend's name too.
So then it got really awkward and confusing for you.
A little bit. My feelings are a little bit mixed about it. But when she called Marty to take care of what he took care of in Tennessee or wherever it was, I really thought she was trying to slash her sister off.
Oh, I did too. I did too.
Yeah.
I really thought that's where it was going.
And who knows if it didn't cross her mind?
She probably thought about it.
But
I don't think she would.
It wasn't a must, though. I feel like she thought Kenny was a must.
Yeah.
I think that was
And I think she thought Anthony was a must. I mean, she was never going to escape him. And I mean, if she hadn't killed him too, so.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think she does it until
she's back.
I'm not trying to condone her because murder's murder and it's wrong, but let me put that out there. But it's like also you kind of understand the different stories. No, you should not do this in real life, but
right. I mean,
for the moral of a TV show story, I understand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Georgia clearly dealt a bad hand from the beginning. It's not like she's had role models to teach her right from wrong. And then she doesn't have resources to like better her life. So she's doing all this shady stuff, and it may be wrong, but I think it's her only options at that point. And I mean, when it comes to someone threatening her kids or, you know, her kids' livelihood, like she said, there's nothing she wouldn't do for them.
And she hasn't been taught any other way to be. So
right.
She's very street smart and resourceful.
Yeah. This is clearly not the life she wants to live. I mean, you can see it. She tells Paul that on their date. I mean, she just wants to be in a place where her and her kids feel safe and she can just be herself. And that's just not ever happened for her so far.
But also her past is hindering her too for feeling safe. She's kind of paranoid and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, she's done shady stuff, and you know, it can't be easy always looking over your shoulder thinking you're going to get caught for something that you did 20 years ago.
Right.
That's exaggerating, but probably 10 years ago.
I mean, that's got to be pretty
15. Yeah. Yeah. So then we have Austin finds the letters when he's playing hide and go seek with Paul.
Poor Austin.
I wonder why she kept those letters and why she didn't just destroy them like after he gave them to her. Again, I feel like, and I don't know why she hangs on to all of this stuff.
Like, those are the letters that Austin wrote to his dad that she saving. What would be the point of why didn't she just burn them?
That's what I would have done. I think she has this way of, she just wants to hang on to stuff. And
she just confiscated that that makeshift blowtorch. So, I mean, she had that option.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know. I felt bad for him.
Yeah, I was wondering that too, because I don't know. Did we ever? I'd like to learn more about Austin's dad, because all we know is that she framed him for money laundering or something.
But if we know anything about Georgia, I think there was obviously a reason she felt like she had to do that. And my personal theory is that he's already found them. And I mean, we can talk about this more. I mean, I don't know. I can go ahead and talk about it now. Because Austin is disappearing. I think it's in episode 10. He's disappearing, like not going to school. He's doing something. I think his dad's back and he's meeting with him and that he's already found him. And I think next season that's going to be the big threat to them all, is Austin's dad's going to be a bad dude. That's purely speculation. I have nothing to back it up, but that's what I think's happening.
I think it's a good theory.
What do you think, Shelby?
Wait, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, she should have destroyed those letters when she destroyed those pictures, because she knew Ginny was starting to look around, and that would have been like the perfect time to do both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she shouldn't have kept them in the first place if she didn't want to be caught. I mean,
because it's not like Santa Claus letters that you put like in a scrapbook or save them for when your kid's older or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
you should be so ashamed of what you're doing that you don't want to keep the letters.
Yeah,
because it's not even like something that she could show him like in the future and they just laugh it off when he's an adult. Like, that's something that would not have gotten better over time whatsoever.
Right.
The only thing I can maybe think of is maybe she was saving them for his dad. I don't really, but that's kind of out there because I don't know if she really cared that much to do that.
I don't know. That doesn't sound like something she would do, especially given the fact that she obviously doesn't have good feelings about his father.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who knows? I think she should have just got rid of him. As soon as he wrote him, she should have just burned him. I mean,
I don't know. I feel like if it was my kid, I would have sent him.
I don't know if I would have sent them. Because I mean, what she gets upset about Ginny mailing them, you know, she's like, did you put our return address? I mean, there's a reason why there was pure terror in her face that she does not want him to know where she is.
Yeah.
So I think they didn't get mailed because he's a dangerous guy. I mean,
that makes sense.
Kill him. She's killed every other husband. I mean,
yeah. Well, given the age difference between Ginny and Austin, you would think that Ginny was at least somewhat aware of what might have been going on at the time when Georgia and Austin's dad were together. So I'm kind of surprised that Ginny doesn't see anything wrong with sending these letters or doesn't have any sense of danger.
Unless Georgia was just real careful about keeping the bad stuff from Ginny, which we see how she is with Austin. I mean, she protects him without like, so maybe she just protected Ginny and Ginny doesn't realize that this guy is a bad guy.
See, that's kind of where my mind went.
What'd you say, Shelby?
I said, I mean, you see all the time, like, I mean, I don't know how true it is in real life, but you see all the time, like in movies and stuff, when the guy's beating up the mom and they basically hide it from the kids. Like the kids don't even know what's going on. And then one day they just up and leave with the kids, like pack your stuff and we're going type of thing. So, I mean, it's very possible that Georgia just hid it from Ginny and Ginny didn't know about it.
Yeah. And we know Jenny's also self-absorbed and oblivious to stuff. I mean, you saw how she reacted about her grandparents, even after, you know, Jenny, or what's her sister name? Maddie was trying to tell her that like they were really bad people. Like,
yeah,
you know, so I mean, just, again, I think I've said this before. I like the show and that how I feel like it makes the teenagers really realistic as far as their emotions. And I mean, I don't know. She's just not realizing that maybe her mom had a reason for doing some of these things, and you should keep your nose out of it, Jenny.
She thinks she's too grown up, which
I
mean, she's been led to believe that's okay. So
I know.
What can you do?
Yeah, I agree.
But she wants to be a grown up, and she needs to start acting like a grown up.
Right. And I mean, that's just to think about just mailing. I mean, obviously the man is in jail. I know he's just in there for embezzlement or whatever. But you can't, I mean, you just mail those letters without even discussing it. Don't you think your mom had a reason why maybe she like didn't mail them? It just seems crazy.
The more and more that the episodes went on, the more and more I did not like Ginny. So
yeah, same.
I mean, all the way up to how season 1 ends.
I
don't like that either.
I don't like that either.
So
Jenny, I want to like Jenny. She's one of those characters, like I keep trying to give her a chance and then she'll do something else that I'm like, oh, why would you do that?
Same. And I can feel like I don't hate her.
Yeah, me neither.
You know, so there's room for growth there. I can turn to love her.
Yeah.
I feel like I can do that. I haven't written her off.
Yeah.
But she definitely needs to redeem herself in season 2.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
She needs to come to a realization that she's 16. She's still a child. She still has a lot of learning and growing to do.
Yeah.
So hopefully we start seeing a little bit more growth.
Yeah. So next we have the dinner at the baker's that Zion cooks, which in this scene I really liked Zion. I was like, well, look at him. He's cooking dinner and this is nice.
Mr. Dad.
Yeah, I really liked him there.
I did it was like a little normal family.
And it was really, I don't know. See, I am so confused on Georgia's love life. I guess I completely understand why she's confused because it's not even mine and I'm just watching it. But I get like, I don't know. I liked him in that scene, and I thought they were really a cute little family unit in that moment. You know.
Yeah, I did too.
So
they were cute.
Yeah.
But
and I love Ellen and Paul like sitting there discussing, or not Paul, Ellen and Clint discussing it, and Clint's like, is she dating this guy or the mayor? And Ellen's like, I don't know, you know.
that full-on conversation just right there.
Yeah, that only they got her, them, and you see Max kind of laugh, like kind of chuckle, because no one else knows what he's saying,
Lynn cracks me up. Like and I mean, you guys can disagree with me on this, but like the episodes that he is in, like I feel like he carries the show. Like
I agree. He is probably the most underrated character on the show. I think
he always lightens everything up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I love it.
It is a pretty dark show, and then he just lightens it up. It is funny.
Yeah,
and like I think for me anyway, like the fact that no one else really knows what he's saying just cracks me up even more.
Mm-hmm. It's cute. I love the whole family dynamic. Like I even love it. This isn't this episode, but the episode where Max comes home drunk after Halloween, and her and Marcus are kind of arguing, but they're signing as they're arguing. No one else is in the room, but they're still signing to each other like you're the worst or whatever. And it just makes me laugh because I don't know why it makes me laugh like it does, but I think it's really cute. That
was a nice little touch that they put in there.
Yeah,
because I assume that's
probably
real.
how it is. Yeah.
I think it's just something that, if you're used to doing it all the time. And I mean, as children, they probably were taught, like, if you're going to say something with mom and dad both in the room, you need to sign it too, because, I mean, you don't want dad out of the loop.
Right. But it's Clint at this dinner too, though, that comes up with like the ad campaign that inspires Georgia about taking action. And I thought that was cool, how she just, here he's talking about, she gets that look on her face, like she just got this really great idea. And when they do that, they set up, what did they do? So they set up like places where they could sign up to do like community activities, like while at the rally, right?
Yeah,
so stuff that was happening right away.
Yeah, yeah. He's the mayor, right? He's the mayor that takes action. Yeah. So they had so people could sign up for all these charitable causes, or
actually a genius plan. I mean, like, I think that's really,
I like.
Yeah. But then the rally is where Zion sees how happy Georgia actually is and decides to leave. And it kind of flashes back to when she left him the first time too, because she told him that, she wanted him to be able to achieve all of his dreams, and he wasn't going to do that by sitting around working for his dad just to support them. So I think he in turn leaves her because he can see that this is where she can make all of her dreams come true too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was sweet of him, but then on the other hand, I mean, they also had Ginny. And that's kind of a selfish, I feel like that's kind of a selfish thing to do as a parent. Like, whoa, wait, it's not just you and Georgia. There's also Ginny here, and she wants you here. She needs you here.
Yeah, that bugged me. I mean, because he had already said he got him an apartment in Boston, which they don't say where he went. Maybe he did go to Boston to just be in that apartment, because they don't think they actually tell us, correct?
No, he just says he has to go.
Yeah.
But I hope he's in Boston, that apartment.
Hope so.
That would be nice. I hope he's not going too far away again, because
that'll make me dislike him. Maybe he just ups and runs like that.
Maybe he'll be like a Christopher. He'll just like keep popping in and out.
But most of us back to our Gilmore Girls. Christopher. We'll see Maureen here, the person who's only watched half of this a couple times, he says that you have a new address and I'll be there on the reg. So, okay, so maybe he is in Boston. But this is also where Paul proposes to Georgia. Amanda, did you love that?
I know.
I purposely looked straight at Amanda's face when you brought up Paul. I was like, oh, a Paul moment. Let's see what Amanda's doing with her face.
See,
trying not to listen.
It's clear I'm the Paul fan here, because I love that scene. I mean, like, I'm telling you, I still want her with Joe. I do. I will always want her with Joe. But I feel like Paul gets her in that scene. I mean, the way he just is like, I understand, like, you want the power just like I want the power. I mean, he knows, I think he sees who she is and he's okay with it.
I don't know.
I wish our listeners could see Amanda's face as I talk about Paul and Georgia. She's not happy.
And I don't know how to explain it because I don't hate him.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not going to be comfortable with him until he does something bad.
Okay.
Because I just get this gut feeling that he's done something or has some other motive, or I don't even know what it is. I can't even pinpoint it. I just know something's up.
You are more twisted than I am. Like, you're wanting to take the good guy and you want him to do something bad so that you can actually like him.
Usually.
That's a very Jeanette thing to say.
I mean, that's usually my stance. If it wasn't Scott Porter, I think I would feel the same way. So
I don't know. What are you doing?
So then we have Cynthia. She sees Georgia, which this scene bugged me too. Georgia, why are you putting some of the money in your purse out in public? Put it all in the bag and then put it in your purse when you get in your car and you're by yourself. Like, why are you stuffing? I mean, that looks suspicious.
Like, come on, be smart, Georgia. You're better than this.
I didn't get that at all. I was like, why are you doing this out here in the open?
She's losing her touch. She's getting too comfortable.
Although, I mean, she pulls it together. I mean, like, no one finds out. So, I mean, she figures it out at the end. But, and then Cynthia, I also want to know, how did she get into the mayor's office at night? Is that stuff not locked up? That didn't make any sense to me, because she just is able to go in there and just go through Georgia's desk.
Yeah, she just walked right on in.
I mean, is it that easy? I mean, I live in a small town, but I mean, our public buildings are locked up at night. I don't think you can just stroll through there and go through stuff.
I live in a bigger city, but yeah, I mean, the mayor's office, it's like they have security there and it's locked up.
Yeah, you can't just get in there. And it's not like she works in the building, because she's a realtor, right? Because at first I was like, oh, like maybe if she worked somewhere in the building that would make sense, but no, like, she doesn't work there.
Even like picking the lock to get in or something, that wouldn't make sense, because don't they have alarms or something?
They should, I would think.
Unless Georgia had a hunch and set her up.
Maybe, but I mean, I just feel like that could be, I don't know. It just seems strange to me.
It's not beneath Georgia to set someone up like that. Yeah. So.
And I know that, I mean, I know some people put their passwords right, but I mean, I would think if you work in a place like that where there's such sensitive information, I mean, I'm an accountant, so I'm like, if you've got like your accounting records on your computer, you can't just have your password underneath your keyboard. Like, I don't know, it was screaming internal control issues big time. I didn't like it.
Listeners, be smart about your passwords. Keep them in a safe place.
Please.
One more thing that kind of does make sense though about Georgia maybe setting her up.
Yeah, that too. When they left the checks in the top drawer just unlocked, again, that's a huge internal control. You would get in trouble if you were audited and they found out that your checks just got left out like that. Like, it's not okay. You have to keep them locked up.
And they usually aren't a locked drawer, because the first time that when Georgia was trying to fight the urge to take the money, she put them in the locked drawer, because I remember seeing her turn the key, because that was her way of trying to keep her mind off of it, which obviously didn't work. But
no. Yeah, true. Anyway, so Cynthia gets to look through that, and she finds that the checks are they're not in the ledger. So the ones that were written out to cash are not being recorded in the general ledger. So that's a big deal. So then we have Ginny goes to see Marcus, and they talk. I guess Ginny's over there. It's when Sophie and Max broke up. Aww. And so they're all over there, which was super sad and such a funny, I don't know.
Max, it was her own fault.
She's so dramatic. She just makes me laugh, with her phone call to Sophie and
what is it? She bit Nora.
Yeah, they're like, Nora, you were supposed to be watching. She's like, she bit me, which I'm with Nora. You're gonna bite me, I'm backing off too. Go for it.
I think my favorite part of that whole scene where I think they're eating Oreos, and Max is just, and I told you guys about this in that she was licking, she would lick the cream filling out and then put the cookies in Abby's hand, and Abby's just holding them.
See,
cup in her hands, and Abby's like, this is love. This is
Abby,
love.
Abby has a lot of issues, but Abby is a good friend.
She is.
I like that. I was like, yes, that is love. Holding, licked cookies. Like, you gotta really love that person.
Yeah, it's gross. So, but then Jenny goes looking for Marcus. She says she's going to the bathroom, but she's clearly going to find him. And they talk, and he tells her that he's lost his phone, which is why he's not answering her. They almost kiss, but Abby sees it and tells her not to tell Max.
As soon as she said that, I was like, oh, this is gonna end bad for everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we'll talk about it for episode 10, but I was right.
But so then I guess Jenny leaves, but then she goes back later. So Jenny goes back to see Marcus, and they have sex.
Yeah,
that's cute, because I mean, she says she loves him too, and then we find out that and it was a sweet scene, I think.
It was. They discussed their problems. It seemed like a nice, no drama filled moment, which I don't feel like we get in this show too often.
Right.
So it was like kind of a nice, quiet moment.
Yeah, it's just a nice conversation.
Well, speaking of, they discuss how much better this time around was. And Marcus says that it's because he wasn't a virgin this time, which surprises Jenny, I think. But she says one of the funniest. I love their interactions, because I wrote this down too. When she's like, you were a virgin? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, why didn't you tell me? I would have sent balloons. I just thought that was so funny, because it's just so perfect of their relationship and how they can banter with each other. The conversation, I love the conversation between Jenny and Marcus, and about how he's talking. He's basically telling her that how he was feeling after his friend was killed, and it was just, it was a really nice moment between the two of them, about how he wasn't okay, and that I don't know, when she's talking about what she was doing to herself and stuff. And this is this is obviously the only person she's ever opened up to about this stuff.
Yeah.
And I get the impression it's probably the only person other than his therapist that he saw that he's ever opened up to about this either. So it was beautiful. I liked it.
It was a really nice moment.
Definitely sweet, not cringy. No, what was it? Cute?
Cute.
This
is cute, not
this
cringy.
Is cute. Because it's Marcus, so it's cute.
Exactly. But then later, this is where Max finds the phone, and this is when her and Marcus have that big argument, and she tells him to fall in a ditch. But
I mean, I know it's not a nice thing to say to your brother who just literally drove into a ditch, but I mean, it was
that interaction was realistic, though. If I'm being honest, I feel like that's what brothers and sisters say to each other. I mean, you can say the most horrible things to each other like that sometimes.
Yeah.
But I mean, and when she first read all this stuff, I totally understand why she was upset, because I would have felt betrayed as well, I think. And I think she takes it too far, and she makes too big of a deal out of it. But I would have confronted them both right then and asked them what's going on. We would have talked about it, and we would have moved on.
Yeah.
And not made this whole thing. But Max is dramatic, so she's gonna make a whole thing out of it.
I kind of agree with Max to an extent. I think that I would have been really upset, and I wouldn't have done the petty stuff, but I definitely wouldn't have talked to Ginny for a while, I think.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know, I would have talked to her right away, because I think that's how you have to solve an issue.
I don't know, it's just, you have to get your feelings out. If not, anxiety is a creepy thing.
Yeah.
And you will blow up.
And you'll say things you don't mean, like
exactly
Max ends up doing. I mean, the way she confronts Ginny in that hallway is completely uncalled for.
Yep, because you start making up these scenarios in your head.
But this leads right into episode 10, so I think we could go ahead and discuss the whole issue and just get it done.
We're
I mean, because Max and all of them, I mean, they just ignore her. I just think, and I try to remember, God, they're only 16. So I'm like, okay, I know that things are different, but I think it's so mean. I don't know. It made me really upset with them because Ginny is clearly hurt here. And I know they don't understand what's going on in her personal life, but I think that's an issue too. Max, you were supposedly her best friend and you have no idea what she's dealing with at home. And I think Marcus even says this to Max, like, you don't understand, like, she's dealing with so much. Like, not everything's about you, Max.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, for Max it is, so.
It drives me
Max
nuts.
thinks it is. You already know my feelings about it.
I know.
It's so annoying to me.
Yeah.
It's like that person that you talk to and you tell them, you say something to them and they got to come back with something about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those type of conversations you have.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Or the people that, like, when you confront them and tell them that you've been hurt by something, they know how to flip it right back onto something that you've done. Just, you know, I mean, it's annoying.
Yeah. It's like, don't turn this back.
Your own part of this, please.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's Max.
Yeah.
I mean, sadly, but it is. I feel like I love to hate her.
Yeah.
I can't dislike her.
I enjoy her.
She has too much of a good personality to, like, not like her.
Yeah.
But
plus, you know, her parents are amazing. Her brother's got a good heart. So I'm like, she's got to have a good heart in there somewhere. I have to believe it.
I think she does.
Yeah.
I think she does, but I mean, who knows? Sometimes, I mean, I really don't think she knows what's going on in anybody's life except her own.
Yeah.
I don't know how she continues her friendships the way that she does without.
I don't either.
Not knowing.
Yeah.
Marcus is the considerate twin and Max is the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
But I think she can keep friendships. Sorry, I have to interject because I can't type this fast enough.
Please
I think
do.
she keeps the friendships for the same reason that you guys still like her. She's a completely selfish, egotistical, dramatic person who is not very likable when you separate how entertaining she is. She keeps her friendships because she keeps them laughing and she keeps them entertained. And that's her function. But she doesn't actually care about anybody else except for her own life and her own girlfriend and whatever concerns her specifically. But I mean, look at how she turned on Abby and her friend in that hallway. She flipped out on both of them for even deigning to go against her and talk to this girl who did nothing to offend them. That's the only reason she has friends. Sorry.
No, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like her at all. I don't like her.
I still go back and forth. It's like I love to hate her. I mean, I'll stick to my words earlier. I love to hate her.
I mean, she's funny and she entertains me.
I think that's what it is. But I enjoy her character, but I don't really like her, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. But it is weird because the first time we ever watched this through, I know I loved Max.
I did too. And I think it's because she was so entertaining that she made me laugh. And so I liked her.
Yeah. And even the second time I watched, I still liked her. But the more, now that we're diving deep into Max and everything she does, I'm like, I don't know if I like her as much anymore.
No, I don't think so either.
Well, I think I mean, now that we know how she is, I think as I watch it, I pick out other things that she's also selfish about. Like, I think I'm able to pick up on it more. Like, now that I know the end result.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
So another thing that happens that the engagement photo shoot interview that they did with Paul and Georgia and the kids.
Oh.
And both the kids are acting.
I was gonna say they were acting weird if I remember right.
They are, and it's because, you know, Austin's found those letters and Jenny's all, so they're mad at her, you know, but Georgia doesn't know that they're mad at her. And Georgia's a bit self-involved too, and doesn't understand what's going on around her a lot of times.
Yeah, and Austin wasn't speaking at all at that point, right?
Right. Mm-mm. But I think, didn't Georgia say he had done this once before or something like that? So, which should be a red flag, though. I mean, a kid shouldn't do that, especially at that age. Like,
no,
they stop speaking. There's a major, like, problem going on in their lives for them to do that.
Yes. I think she's just so in denial.
And I think you know what, she might be afraid too. Like if I was to take these kids to therapy, she might be afraid of what
is going to come out.
Well, and not even just about her, but just like afraid of like, how bad have I screwed them up? And she just wants to ignore it because she doesn't want to feel like she's done that to them. We also have Jenny's teacher, again, who makes a completely racist remark when reading a book in class that actually shocked me. Like, I was like, did he really say that? Like,
what was it he said? I don't remember.
Well, he was talking about some book they were reading and how he was going to skip over an offensive word. And he actually calls Ginny out and says, like, what does he actually say to her? Basically, he's like, right, Ginny, like talking about how offensive it is. And I mean, totally calls her out that clearly she's the only Black kid in class. And even Hunter's face at that moment was pure shock. It's like it finally dawned on him, like, oh wait, maybe this guy really is racist. It was a different time, he said. I hate that like explanation.
Yeah, it was a different time. It's not today. Don't use it.
I mean, he should have just said, like, I'm going to skip over this because there's an offensive word here, and just left it at that.
Yes.
Like, let's not even dive any deeper into this. Like, where it's offensive, so we're gonna just ignore it.
And he just had turned it into a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it didn't have to be that big a thing.
I mean, and this is high school.
Yeah.
You know, if you're like a real hardcore literature major in college, you know, I can see more of a fight about this because it is the history of it. But in a high school, no, absolutely not. It shouldn't be used. I don't feel like it should be used either way, if I'm being completely honest. But
so of course that upsets Jenny. She, you know, leaves, cries, talks to Bracia in the bathroom. So that was a nice conversation because I was a little unhappy with Bracia from the Halloween party and the way she kind of treated Jenny, but I liked seeing them kind of talk and make up a little, and
me too.
It gave Jenny someone to hang out with and spend time with, since Mang isn't speaking to her.
Yeah, I could never, or at least Man isn't speaking to her.
Yeah, I guess it is just Man. Then we've got Cynthia in her HR meeting to try to call Georgia out on stealing that money, but somehow Georgia has already fixed it all, which I guess it's because the money came through, and so she was able to put everything back real quick.
I think so.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
But Nick still knows for sure that
Nick knows
is right.
Yeah. And I hated that because I really enjoy Nick and Georgia's friendship.
Yeah, I love
I didn't want him to know.
Friendship.
That was sad.
I want him to trust her.
Well, she's not really worth it, the trust.
Yep.
I mean, an untrustworthy person.
Yeah.
Which is what Georgia is. I mean, as much as I love her.
Oh, I know. I mean, I
wouldn't trust her.
No, not at all. Hunter wants to make up. He loves Jenny.
Yeah.
It's all cute. Growing up sounds now.
Not cute. It's cringy.
Yeah, that's cringy too. I mean, I don't know. Well, she even she doesn't tell him she loves him back. I think, doesn't she tell him at some point that she has a lot of love for him? But that she never says she loves him back. Not like she told Marcus. So
yeah,
there's that. Let's see what else. So Georgia, or not Georgia, but Ginny is finally talking to Joe about the moment. Because he notices the sunglasses, the Ray-Bans that she had. She said she got them from her mom. And I love, that scene, because it's his face when it's all clicking, and just how he's like,
light bulb went off
the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, it's really sweet.
Did you study his words? Do you think he realized it just then, or do you think he knew it before?
I think he realized it just then. I think he's been having this is strange, whatever. But I think at that moment, because it's because he even says milkshake. It's like it all clicks right at that moment.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Now I know. But I love how Jenny does her impression of Georgia in that moment. Did you all notice that? When she says, let's see if I can get my best Georgia voice. When she says, what'd she say? Those sunglasses and half a sandwich changed my life. I just love it because she does it just like Georgia. It makes me laugh every time. I don't know.
That was a pretty decent Georgia, by the way.
Well, you know, I'm not too far off, so it's an easy switch. I still can't do it like her.
I feel like that's pretty realistic too, like going off of what you're saying about how like the characters are realistic. Because like, I don't know about you guys, but like whenever my mom would repeat something over and over and over again, or if I was annoyed by her, like I could do, like not so much anymore because I haven't lived there for almost 7 years, but I could do like the perfect impression of my mom, like making fun of her, like smart alecky or like legit impression of my mom.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I mean,
and
it's somebody.
That's something that Georgia has said a bunch of times, you know, like so.
Yep. That's what they're trying to make you realize is that's something, a saying of hers. So that tells you how much of an impact that Jo did have on her life.
I don't think I've ever wanted two people to be together as much as I want those two to be together. Like I want her to realize so much that it like I'm way too invested in it, if I'm being honest, for it to be a TV show. I really want it because I just want her to figure it out. I want her to figure it out and I see her face because I still don't think she knows. I know you all disagree, but I don't think she does.
I don't know. I go back and forth.
If she knows and I'm being robbed of this moment of her figuring out who he is, I'm going to be upset, to be honest with you.
I mean, some part of her has to know. I mean, she moved to Wellsbury
because someone in her past told her about Wellsbury.
But she has to
just imagine you having
she had those sunglasses all that time though.
She met him one time. Like I think the memory is there without the actual mental picture, if that makes sense.
Maybe. But he looks exactly the same though.
But I don't think she wouldn't have a memory of what he looks like because it's been 15 years and she's had like a rough life. I mean, I think back, do I remember what a person that I met one time when I was 15 years old? No, like there's no way I remember that.
But then there were other things he mentioned too, like the horse named Milkshake, where she was like, what?
But like I think I've said this before, like how we don't know, has she told this story to other people? I mean, we don't know if this is the one and only time she's mentioned her horse named Milkshake.
I have a feeling you're right.
Yeah,
I do.
I don't think she knows.
But I can't wait to figure out.
I think if she knew, she would be scrambling to try to make sure that didn't get out.
But what does Jo know about her, really?
Well, I mean, clearly she was, I don't know.
I mean, I don't think he really has anything on her per se.
Yeah.
They just had a conversation. I mean, nothing incriminating or anything like that. So
yeah, I don't know.
They talked about it a lot in that little bitty conversation they had. I know that we already went over that, but
but I don't think that Georgia really, if I'm remembering right, I don't think that Georgia really said too much like incriminating stuff about her. It was basically a generic conversation.
Yeah. And I mean, I've just thought about it just a second. She did just find out she was pregnant right before that scene.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there is a good chance that was all blurry.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just, plus, I mean, think about how much she has been through over those 15 years. It's not even like our last 15 years. I mean, she's been through a lot.
Yeah. And
she's moved to several different places. So she's probably met so many people over those years.
Killed a couple husbands, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
She's been busy.
She's had a full life. She's put another one in prison. I mean, I think she's just had a full life. And I mean, I don't think she remembers. I think it's a distant memory that's somehow locked in her brain, but it's all fuzzy. And I think it's deja vu. That's the best way I can describe it. Like when you have those moments, like, I feel like I've done this before, but I don't know why. So Jo also, though, he's planning on telling her. And I was so mad at Ellen, like, for interrupting. He was about to, like, profess his love to her, I think. And then Ellen has to come in talking about the engagement. And he looks like, so sad.
Ellen, I love you, but it's not the right time.
Yeah, it's bad timing, Ellen. Go away.
What happens next?
With the sing. So
everyone argues over Marcus and Ginny.
It's just a nonstop, like, battle. I think that's why I wrote that in my notes. Like everyone, like they're all involved. Like even Hunter shows up, and
yeah.
But that's what made me mad at Max. Like I don't think she had any business yelling that out to Marcus like she did, or to Hunter like she did.
No.
I
Not
mean,
at all.
that should have been Ginny should have been able to tell him that. And
maybe pointed, do you want to tell him? To Ginny might have been appropriate, but
yeah. But I don't think it was any of her business to tell him. I mean, I know they're friends, but it's not like her and Hunter are like best buds or anything. Like that would have been different. Like she only did it to be spiteful.
Why are you defending Hunter all of a sudden?
No, that was an accident.
Oh, I was gonna say, who's defending Hunter? I did feel bad for him though. I mean, I don't even like him, but I did feel bad for how he found out.
Did he hit our man?
Well, I know, I don't like that.
Then he hit Marcus and he said, ow, I have a concussion.
I love that part.
Yeah.
This poor Marcus has been through the rounds lately.
I feel it, and when it was funny because when Hunter punched him, it was almost like he was expecting it, like, oh yeah, people just hit me now. This is what happened.
But no, that whole thing was just a mess. And then Marcus, of course, saying it's a mistake. I was just like, Marcus, what are you doing? Don't say that.
That was cringy, Marcus.
Yeah, okay, he did have a
cringy or cute. Cringy.
He thought he was saying the right thing, but I'm like, read the room, man. I mean, clearly that's not what, like, look at Ginny. She's kind of giving you a signal that that's not the right answer, you know?
And then Max and Marcus bring the argument home.
Mm-hmm.
And Max spills the beans to Ellen.
Which I was less mad about that one because that feels like a brother-sister type thing. Well, Mom, guess what he did? You know, like you can tell that. That one didn't
What was it?
bother
She
me as
said
much.
it was the biggest betrayal since Jordan. It was the title of the episode too, I think.
Yes, that is what it is then. Yeah. But then, of course, that causes problems because Ellen goes to Georgia to tell her, only to find out Georgia already knows. And Ellen is upset and calls her a bad mom, which I feel like I would be a little upset too. Like,
I was really sad because I loved Georgia and Ellen's friendship.
Yeah. I think it'll come back from that.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fine.
I think so.
They're grown-ups, so they know.
They'll handle their issues, I think, outright, and they won't just ignore each other. And
did
whatever.
we ever talk about that poem that Georgia did just off the cuff when?
Oh no, we didn't. I love it. A face in the window.
Motherhood, anger.
I was like,
doing laundry.
I love that. I love that whole interaction. So Jenny's like, I'm gonna do my laundry from now on. She's like, and that's supposed to be a threat. Do it. Like, why would you think that would hurt your mom's feelings? Like,
please, like, oh, you do my laundry? Oh, I'm so sad. Here.
Yeah.
Do my laundry.
All right, so where are we?
Ginny blackmails her teacher for a reference.
Oh,
I loved it.
Go, Ginny.
He deserved it. I didn't feel bad for him one tiny bit.
Not one bit. I loved it. I don't even know what else to say. I mean,
he owed her that reference.
He did, and I'm glad that she was.
And he knew that she deserved it, and she was justified.
Yep.
I'm glad she finally. Well, not that she finally stood up for herself. I feel like she's always kind of stood up for herself, but I'm glad she asked.
I loved how she threw it back. She said, we don't want to inundate our teachers our junior year. Just like what Hunter's mom had said to her. I just thought that was she threw that back out there.
She brought her inner Georgia out.
Mm-hmm. This is probably why I liked her in that moment, because I like Georgia.
She brings her inner Georgia out a couple of times during this episode. Apparently
she does.
Well, a few times, because what do we see at the very last?
Yeah,
that's another Georgia move.
But then the PI, this surprised me when he approached Jenny to tell her all this stuff. I'm like, first, what did you think was going to happen here? Like, that's her mom. Like
doesn't that compromise the case? I mean, that's her mother, and she's a teenager who's fully capable of like turning on that PI and saying, "Hey, mom, the PI's on to us. Let's get out of town." Like,
I guess maybe he felt like he had no other options. Like he was, up against a wall, and he figured this was a last, stitch effort or whatever. But what did you? I mean, you can have issues with your mother, like, but I mean, as far as I go, like, I could have issues with my mom, but if anybody else tries to come at her, like, I'm gonna defend her. Like,
yeah,
exactly. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it was a really weird, like,
It was real risky unless he'd been observing, like closely observing the family well enough to have a good idea that, hey, maybe I can get her to turn on her mother. But
that's possible.
It was still really risky because, I mean, we do see later that she burns the wolf's bane. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it is. So, I mean, she covers for Georgia, and I mean, she takes Austin to run away, but I do like how she burnt that plant before. So she's still obviously caring about her mother and trying to cover everything up. She's just,
doesn't want to be around it.
In her own little mind with him, she's, getting around it. She's getting away from it, and she's trying to protect her brother in the meantime. I mean, it's a really bad move, but I guess I see where her thought process is.
I do too. I mean, I didn't like it, and I don't really agree with it, but
yeah,
I understand.
Where do we think they're going? I'm hoping that since Zion is just in Boston, that maybe they're just going to him.
That's
what I think.
I think so. I don't think Ginny would take anywhere that would like.
Well, Ginny's not. I mean, she's not Georgia, so she's not cut out to make it on the streets. I don't think. I mean, I don't think she could survive like Georgia did.
Yeah, she's not street smart as Georgia is.
And plus, she has Austin with her.
Yeah,
I feel like she's going to be a little bit more smart.
Yeah,
that's the right word. Cautious.
Yeah.
Then she has Austin, so maybe she is going to Zion because she knows they'll be okay there.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think Zion's just going to make her go straight back to Georgia, but
oh yeah, I think he will too.
He'll take her there himself.
Well, yeah, he's not going to have her ride the motorcycle back. I'll tell you that.
Would you
maybe
say
even her grandparents' house too, or her grandparents' house, because that was hinted around a good bit that she kind of thinks they walk on water, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they live at. Do they live close to her?
Well, they'd be down in the South still.
I'm not sure.
Right. I was just thinking if they're against Georgia, if Ginny went there, then maybe they could help her to like get out from underneath that. And they know that they'd be safe there too.
That's a good point.
Well, I hope that one doesn't happen because then I worry about Georgia and I don't like it.
Yeah.
At least Zion's going to just send them right back home, or at least call Georgia.
Oh yeah, he'll call her. Georgia will probably actually drive down there and get her herself, knowing her.
But I think we only talked about this a little bit, like we didn't talk about from this episode, but like Austin skipping school. So what do you all think he's been doing like when he's not in class? Because Georgia finds out that he's not been in class for days. He's like heading off into the woods.
I think he's just like chilling and reading and hanging out,
doing his Harry Potter stuff.
No. I don't know, it just made me wonder, like, if his dad's back in the picture, like,
I don't know,
because we don't. I mean, his dad could. I think he's definitely coming. If he's not there yet, I think he's gonna be there next season.
Yeah, I do agree with that. We're gonna see something about him soon. We have to.
I'm wondering if the rate that they're going with, like the whole Georgia story with Austin leaving with Ginny.
Mm-hmm.
My theory is that his dad will come back and like he'll have his life turned around and like he'll be a good guy and he'll take Austin for custody or take Georgia for custody of Austin. I mean,
which I wonder I don't think they would be able to do that. Not if he's been in prison without like proving something against her.
Yeah, she would have to have something, which I mean could happen.
It definitely could.
They can make it work.
Yeah,
definitely.
He would definitely have to prove something because he's a felon.
I mean, obviously him living with Georgia isn't good for his mental health. He stabbed somebody.
Yeah.
He's kind of going down a bad road.
Yeah.
He's willing to run away from home. Really, if two kids are trying to run away from home, that's a big red flag. It's usually not just teenage runaway. It's a child and a teenager, both.
Yeah,
trying to run away from a certain situation.
Because I guess I don't know, she'd probably spin it as whole like her getting engaged to Paul and them being nervous about the new changes, or I don't know. I could see Georgia being able to spin that right into something not that big of a deal.
I'm sure she could.
But so Paul wins the election, and the fireworks that Georgia set off scatters Kenny all over the place. And I love how she like basically tells the PI without actually like saying it.
Loved it.
I don't know. I know I'm not supposed to love that because it's really an awful thing. She says, I love fireworks. I find it takes something big and bright to really scatter the ashes of the past.
Okay.
And he's just looking at her like, you crazy woman.
After that, the last little scene we see is we find out that Cynthia's husband is sick.
Which is why she and her son are both mean bullies.
Yeah.
Mean bullies, because I can't say the word I want to say if I want Maureen to keep it in there.
I really think it puts so much into perspective. Like, it even puts into perspective, you know, when the little boy was so upset because he didn't get to bring in his drone that his dad got him, you know, because initially in that episode that just seems like, well, he's such a spoiled brat, like you could just do it another time. But now it's, you know, you understand why he was watching. I mean, it makes me feel a little sorry for her. I don't know. I mean, Cynthia's still terrible, and but she's got a lot going on. And so, I don't know. Yeah. People are grieving. They do.
I at least feel really bad for the kid because he's just a kid and he doesn't know much better.
Yeah.
Cynthia, I don't feel bad for. She's a grown up.
I know. I feel a little bad, but that's because I feel bad for everybody. It's just how I roll. All right, everybody. So I think that's it. I think we've hit just about everything in these last 3 episodes. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know. We've been arguing over here. Are we team Paul? Are we team Zion? Are we team Joe? Make sure to let us know what you all think. You know, you can send us emails at familyfanclub, no S, 2021 at gmail.com. Come join our Facebook group. We do lots of fun stuff there. That is Miller Family Fan Club. Ginny and Georgia Miller Family Fan Club. And then you can also find us on Instagram and Twitter, and also on TikTok, FB Family Fan Clubs. Next week, we're switching back to our current shows and doing the recaps. So make sure you subscribe and come back and check out. We're going to be discussing the season 5 premiere of The Resident next week. So that's exciting.
Yay!
Yay! It's been a while. So, but thanks for joining us. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.